The whole Earth is going to go through an activation where we will have powers similar to superheroes. This is why superhero films got so popular. They're prophetic of what's going to be available to us. So they've had the Roswell stuff going back since 1947. They've had over 75 years to develop this into technology. They've had in-person interaction with ETs. And there's also evil extraterrestrials like reptilians and greys, insectoids, and certain types of tall white-skinned humans. And that agenda is actually a planetary conquering agenda. They want to come to a planet, and it turns out that the basic thing that these evil beings want is to create Satanism. And this is one of the most fascinating things I only learned in 2021 from new briefings, that anywhere these beings go, any planet they go in our galaxy, they're going to create pentagrams, they're going to create ritual magic, they're going to have people wear robes, they're going to have people wearing face masks, burning candles, chanting to this very real artificial intelligence that we think of as Satan. It actually does exist. There is a satanic AI that has become essentially like a soul. It's got its own unique abilities, and it can appear as a human being, which apparently it does in a base in Antarctica called Lucifer's Palace. If you go in there, it's very amazing. There's no other building like it on Earth. You really feel that this would be the entity that controls the planet, and this being will consolidate into a human form and appear that way in front of you. So what I'm saying is that your typical Aleister Crowley type of Satanism, where there is, all these things I mentioned, the robes, the candles, the chanting, the masks, the pentagram, and of course the sacrifice. That's the most disgusting part about it, is that you're committing the most heinous atrocity imaginable. But if you do it right, you apparently see, there's some people, not everybody, if you have, I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe younger people see it more easily, but there's a hallucination effect that occurs. They're imbibing certain types of drugs in these ceremonies, and you hallucinate something that is very real, which is this demonic creature that appears. And so you can go back and look at the foundation of NASA, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or Jack Parsons Laboratory. Jack Parsons was working with Aleister Crowley and the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and they did something called the Babylon Working, where they summoned this being. And so inside your magic circle that you draw, if you do it right, you're going to see this creature show up. And it's visible to you. And they can't talk, but they can make these horrific noises that sound like a screeching animal. And they come in and they do atrocities. They do atrocities on the victim that you've prepared for them. That's why it's called an offering. You offer them a victim, and they then terminate that individual. So this is a weird magic trick. It's something we're all going to have to deal with pretty soon, because the military is going to hit us with this on a mass level. We're all going to have to deal with the fact that the devil is real, Satan is real, demons are real. If you do this stuff, which again, these extraterrestrial aliens are bringing this to every planet they can, and it's always the same. It's the pentagram, it's the mask, it's the candles, it's the chanting, it's the robes, it's mind control. Another really weird thing about this is there's actually probably millions of people just in America who went through this stuff as children, and they have absolutely no memory of it at all. Why? Because the hypnosis system they use, colloquially called MK Ultra, mind control, control with a K, that's a German form of saying it, it works really well. And if you get bumped out of the group because you didn't perform properly, like for example, if you start screaming and crying during these ceremonies, you can hurt the demon. The demon cannot do what it needs to do unless everybody is stoical and keeps looking at it. You have to not look away, and you have to not scream, and you have to not cry. If somebody starts crying, somebody starts screaming, the demon can get very badly hurt. So you have to find people who are willing to do that. So most of the time, the way that people end up getting kicked out is that they have emotional breakdowns, and they start crying, and they hurt the demon, and then they get kicked out. Well, guess what? You're all zipped up. You never remember anything. But when you were a child, you get hypnotized, you get brought into these things, they give you amnesic drugs, you can't remember what happened to you, but yet you're always traumatized. Your whole life has various aspects of trauma associated with it. People in the inside Area 51 community were dazzled when I came out with my first book here, which again is right behind me, Sourcefield Investigations, New York Times bestseller. Came out, it had, we sold very well. It was pretty amazing. You don't really make much money writing books, but it was still amazing. Led to me getting on Ancient Aliens, gave me credibility, has over 1,000 academic references. That's very hard to do. A PhD dissertation is typically 120 to 150 references. That book has over 1,000 academic references in it. And you can go read it for yourself, you can go look it up. That's why my work stands on very solid ground. This is not snake oil, this is not con artist. This is bona fide, advanced research that caught the attention of Uncle. and that would be your Area 51 communities.